I think it was late 2018 or certainly early-ish 2019. At that moment in time, this was when Derek Chisora started working with David Hay. I should have pointed that out. At that moment in time, I said to myself, do you know what? It's beaten me. Boxing is well and truly beaten me, because that's the one thing. If you had said to me, could you ever see David Hay and Derek Chisora work together in any capacity, I would have said, after what happened going back those years ago, 2012, 2011, I would have said not a chance in hell. Once that happened, I said, but you know what? Anything is flipping possible. Once something like that happens, you're just like, you know what? Anything can happen. So what's the point in even saying it might not happen? Anything can happen. And I knew this prior, but I still struggled. It was more so the fact that they were sat together. And I'm not talking about Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren working together. I mean, that in of itself, again, is something that I didn't see. I seen that more likely than Chisora David Hay combination. I did see that more likely, because business, stuff like that. That was a real head scratcher, that one. But I'm obviously referring to Deontay Wilder working with Matchroom, certainly at least for this fight, the one against Zhilei Zhang on the Matchroom Queensbury show, the 5v5, which on the undercard of Bivol Beterbiev. Seeing Deontay Wilder there, sat next to Eddie Hearn, and ultimately he made Wilder captain as well. Honestly, that's right up there. I give my 2 cents on the press conference. I didn't actually give my 2 cents on the press conference, because when I uploaded my video, I did that before we'd even got to the press conference. I did that in the morning. Being there was one of the greatest experiences, certainly with regards boxing, I've ever had. It was, honestly, it was incredible. It was incredible. It was meeting people who I've watched, and I actually went for a drink after with Proper Boxing. He was there. Shout out to him. Rob Hebert actually came over and joined us for a little bit as well. So it was kind of like, all the kind of boxing YouTube interviews coming together and just having a beer. It was amazing. Honestly, it was it was incredible. But the 5v5 announcements, obviously I knew who was fighting going into it. So there was no real kind of surprise end of it, and that was before Dan Rafael admitted it, basically. But I still just couldn't get over the fact that Wilder was sat next to Eddie Hearn, and he's now the captain of Team Matchroom. I didn't know who'd be captain of Team Queensbury. I thought that they'd just do Zhang, because I guess I kind of figured, okay, well, if they get double, likelihood is one of them is going to get knocked out. So Wilder captain, Zhang captain. When Warren started mentioning he's been with us since the start, I was like, you're really making Dubois captain? That's alright. Imagine Daniel Dubois as a captain. Imagine Daniel. We like Daniel Dubois on here, but God Almighty, could you imagine him as a captain of anything? Imagine Captain Daniel Dubois of a ship. Maybe Titanic does need a sequel, but no, he made Hamza Shearer's captain. Good choice, to be fair. Shearer's is. I would be favouring him over Amo Williams. I would. I'd be making him favourite by knockout, possibly, but I'd be making him favourite. Going back to the Wilder situation, Wilder and his fans over there at PBC, they have acted like Eddie Hearn is, the devil himself over the years, and they've spoke so, but not just Eddie Hearn, just Matchroom in general, particularly Anthony Joshua. For Deontay Wilder to now go, and I don't know if he's gone for good from PBC. He might be still in an advisory role with Al Heyman. I'm not too sure. But to now be with Matchroom, and not just with Matchroom, kind of almost, the captain of the ship almost, for Matchroom going into this 5v5. To me, that kind of shows where PBC is at. Yeah, they did it. And it was a good show, don't get me wrong. It was a good show. The Tim Tszyu Fondora show, the whole card itself was pretty good, but they're very thin on the surface now. A lot of their bigger names, Tank Davis is inactive and he's fighting Frank Martin next. No disrespect to Frank Martin, he's a good fighter, but we want to see Tank in bigger fights. Boots Ennis is left. Crawford's a free agent, as far as I believe. Don't know what's going to happen with Errol Spence. Keith Thurman hasn't been relevant in 7-8 years. Danny Garcia, don't know what happened there. Sean Porter's retired. Who else? I think I said already. Boots Ennis has left. Bo Charlos, don't know what's going on with them. Wilder's gone for now, anyway. I think that's pretty much it. If I've missed anyone, but it isn't looking good. It's really not looking good for PBC, and it's really crazy because about, I want to say, was it around about this time 10 years ago? And again, 2014 was 10 years ago. Crazy. But I want to say it was around about this time, maybe 2013, where PBC, it seemed almost it was a show on every week. I don't remember that. Where it literally seemed like you couldn't go a week without a PBC show being on. And they weren't just on Fox or Showtime. They were on it was just non-stop PBC, boxing. You had a lot of guys like James DeGale, Carl Frampton, Lee Selby, etc. going over and fighting in America. Remember Lee Selby fought in I think Frampton did as well. I know DeGale had a few fights over there as well. And it was just constant. It just seemed, it genuinely did seem like this thing was going to just keep going on because boxers were just leaving and going straight to PBC. Now I name you, that's pretty much in a nutshell like it on the surface level. There might be other fighters who've joined PBC who maybe will do something, but on the surface level it just looks so bad for them. And the inactivity of these fighters, because there's not enough fighters to put on these shows, they got to be taking hits on some of these pay-per-views. It's not looking good for them over at PBC. And now you're seeing fighters like Boots Ennis couldn't just say, the hell with this, I'm over to Matchroom. Seeing Wilder now, he's fighting back-to-back on the Saudi shows now, and if he wins, if Deontay Wilder wins, I would have no doubt in my mind he'll stay with Hearn and they'll do the Joshua fight 100%. No doubt in my mind, especially if he wins in devastating fashion. Whether he does or not, let's wait and see. But yeah, again, boxing has done something that I really just didn't. Look, in the last couple of years, we've had Billy Joe Saunders sign with Eddie Hearn, where I believe Billy Joe's dad was even, I don't know if he was threatening Eddie Hearn like for a dust-up or something, but he definitely wasn't speaking kindly of Eddie Hearn, Billy Joe, in the Matchroom. Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, bitter rivals. On the surface now, best buds. And what I will say, that trailer was that's my favourite. That's my favourite. Out of all the Saudi trailers, that one's my favourite, 100% bar none. I loved it. That was the best. For me, that was the best. But Eddie Hearn and Warren working together and doing a 5v5, Wilder with Eddie Hearn, it's what actually will happen next? What will happen next in boxing? What's something that's going to be unlikely that will all of a sudden, happen? Is Anthony Joshua going to bring in John Fury to train him? I doubt it. I doubt it very much, but you never know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Wilder working with Eddie Hearn. Is it still strange to you guys as it is to me? Because it pretty much is. I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it. Smash the like button if you could. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. And for now, I'll leave it there. Peace.